Hi guys, welcome! In this video, we'll dive into Kafra's full DPS build for PvP. Most players think Kafra is only good for support, but with the right build, she can deal some seriously surprising damage while surviving against the threat of the enemy's damage. We'll cover everything you need to know from stats, runes, gears, cards, upgrades, and battle setup so you can turn your Kafra into a DPS powerhouse in PvP. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First, for attribute point distribution, try to find a good balance between int, luck, and strength since all three attributes contribute to improving the damage of rotating stage. Int boosts your raw magic attack, which serves as a foundation for all magic damage. If using any item that grants spell crit chance, then luck becomes important as it increases spell crit damage. Every 6 luck increases your spell crit damage by 1% or 1.1% if you have a Kamora card deposited in the handbook. Meanwhile, strength boosts the damage multiplier of spike mace attacks, where every 5 strength increases the damage by 1%. As for damage modifiers, these are the stats that can further boost your damage against other players. Just like traditional magic classes, you should prioritize improving Ignore Def, Empen, skill damage to demi-human raise, demi-human damage reduction piercing strike, damage to players, and final damage stats to counter the target's defensive stats. What makes Kafra different from most magic classes is that her damage calculation is not affected by your magic piercing strike nor the target's magic pierce res. Another thing to bear in mind is her special discipline mode passive skill. Although it doesn't appear in the stat interface, this passive technically grants Kafra plus 20% damage to all races, plus 20% element damage, and plus 20% Empen, which significantly boosts her overall damage output. When choosing Kafra's element, you will need to consider your team's synergy. For example, if your team's Alenia is using Holy or Wind element, choosing Dark element for Kafra can help diversify your team's elemental damage coverage. If you have a Belcranel card deposited in the handbook, investing in crit damage will also boost your spell crit damage. Moreover, stats such as magic damage to medium size, single target damage, and other shoot of final damage bonuses will further amplify Kafra's total damage potential. Note that AoE skill magic damage and crowd damage are relatively low priority since they only boost the damage of large spike maces, but they do not affect the small spike maces which proc more frequently and contribute the majority of Kafra's DPS. Up next, let's take a look at Kafra's runes. To play Kafra as a DPS in PvP, your top priority should be maxing out her core passive so that packages will appear within the stage. Touching a package doubles the effect of Love's magical spin for 10 seconds, so Kafra gains up to 90% skill damage if all her party members are within the stage. As for the first line effects, here's the recommended order of priority if you're aiming to roll high first line values. First is a Star Rune for rotating stage for a direct damage boost of up to 50%. Second is the S Rune for delivery exception to increase your damage to the target by up to 30%. Third is a Star Rune for professional alignment to grant up to 20% physical pen and M-pen to both yourself and the chosen teammate. Fourth is a Star Rune for overloaded support to increase your resistance to abnormal and force statuses by up to 50% when the stage is active. And the last priority is the S Rune for Take a Small Taste to reduce its cooldown by up to 20%. As for attribute runes, you may use the following attack, buff, and def runes. And for the arcane runes, I recommend using White Blade Rune and Transmission Rune because your stage's ranges can reach up to 9.8 meters when overloaded support is active. Up next, let's dive into the recommended equipment set and cards. First, for weapon, Kafra's signature weapon, Thunder Meteor Hammer, is the only option as it gives a significant amount of magic attack, Ignore Def, and max HP. Additionally, its Tier 5 upgrade grants plus 30% final damage when moving or plus 30% final damage reduct when not moving. For weapon enchant, aim for High Freeze, Petrify, and Silence Resist. As for weapon cards, it's recommended to use these Revenant Star cards or other cards that directly increase your damage to players. For offhand, use Demon Hunter's Trophy and Creeper Agreement for boosting Ignore Def. Aim for Insight 4th Enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high luck roll. As for offhand cards, the top picks are Alien Maya card for magic damage to medium size, Revenant Time Holder Star card for damage to demi-human race, or Alien Pharaonic card for skill damage and shoot of final damage. For armor, I recommend using Demon Hunter's Determination as main equipment and Tiber's Binding Robe as phantom equipment for boosting magic attack percentage, M-Pen, and Ignore Def. For armor enchantment, aim for High Freeze, Petrify, and Silence Resist. As for armor card, the top picks are Revenant Bloody Knight Star card for damage to demi-human race, Alien Priest Magaleta card for spell crit chance and shoot of final damage, or Ice Wallenstein card for final damage. For garment, the only option is a classical robe in the main equipment slot and Divine Feather Clothes in the phantom equipment slot for increased Ignore Def and skill damage. Aim for Arcane 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high freeze, petrify, or silence resist. As for garment card, my top picks are Wrath Greasy Fallen Feather card if you're using Freya's Wings, Revenant Osiris Star card for M-Pen and shoot a final damage, or Zenobia card for skill damage. For footgear, the options for main equipment are Order Guardian or Tristan's Grace, while for phantom footgear you can use Arcane Shoes, White Gem Boots, or St. Mary's Cloth Shoes. Aim for Arcane 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to High Freeze, Petrify, or Silence Resist. As for footgear cards, my top picks are Revenant the Tartarus Star card for M-Pen, Swordsman Senna MVP card for skill damage, or Fallen Bishop Star card for damage to demi-human race. You don't need to use movement speed increasing cards since your movement speed is fixed at 130% whenever her siege is active. For accessories, I recommend using Sage's Duty as main equipment for boosting Ignorem Death and exercising Talisman as phantom equipment to increase spell crit chance and Ignorem Death. Aim for Anti-Mage 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high luck stat. As for accessory cards, my top picks are Demonic Overseer card for skill damage and shoot of final damage, Alien Witch of Calamity card for magic damage to medium size, or Dark Lord Revenant Star card for M-Pen. You can also use an Eclipse's Carrot card for clearing debuffs. For headwear, here are my top picks for each slot. For head, I prefer Wheel of Fortune 4-Leaf Clover for 20% spell crit chance. Aim for a high luck and magic attack enchant. As for headwear cards, the best in slot is the High Wizard Katarina MVP card for increasing magic damage to medium size by up to 21% and Ignorem Death by up to 16%. For face options are Blush Natural Makeup for spell crit chance, Ignorem Death and AoE magic damage, Evergreen Apple Eyes for M-Pen, Delicate Snowflake for skill damage, or Ancestral War Decoration for damage to demi-human race. Aim for Insight 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high luck stat. For mouth, the options are a Mouthful of Bliss for skill damage, Silent Switch for M-Pen, or Kitten Bubble for damage to demi-human race. Aim for a high luck and magic attack enchant. For back, the best slot is Freya's Wings for a 25% chance to trigger Lex Eterna on the target and directly boosting your damage to other players by up to 20%. Aim for Insight 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high luck stat. And lastly, for tail, the options are Wang Wang Express for magic damage to medium size, Paper Folding Magic for AoE magic damage, or It's Too Late for skill damage. Aim for Arcane 4th enchant and reset the 3rd attribute to a high luck stat. Take note that may also use GVG rental gears, God artifacts, and 6v6 team competition headwear for specific situations. Up next, here are the other upgrades that you can invest in to further boost your damage. For Acer Monument, activating all the nodes will grant the following stats. Notably, you'll get 10% Ignorem Death, 10% M-Pen, 15% magic damage, and 15% magic attack. For guild buffs, make sure to max out all your blessings and prayers that provide Element Piercing Strike, Demi-Human Damage Reduction Piercing Strike, M-Pen, Ignorem Death, Damage to Demi-Human Race, Element Damage, and Magic Attack. As a tip, you don't need to boost Magic Piercing Strike since it is not included in her Spike Mises damage calculation. For Oracle Mirror Extract, my top picks for attack attributes are Stick of Wicked Thought for M-Pen or Abre Bow for damage to demi-human race, while for defense attributes, I prefer either Meteorite Armor or Death Cat Armor for status resist. For Ancient Relics, the best in slot is Horn of the Unyielding to prevent getting one-hit killed by whales. Other options are Year Necklace to reduce the chances of getting stripped, or Horn of the Watcher if the enemy team has the Nameless. For Equipment Memory, here's a summary of the attributes that you should prioritize for each memory. And when it comes to skill inheritance, these are the ones most suitable for a full DPS Kafra. Just choose depending on the amount of energy slots you have already unlocked. Finally, let's take a look at some tips on how to effectively use Kafra in PvP. First, place the following skills in your manual and auto skill bars. In general, it's better to cast Kafra's buffs manually so you can select the correct teammates to receive them. If you place them in auto, the buff will automatically be cast on the nearest teammate, which may not always be optimal. Once you're all set, use the following consumables that can further boost your damage, such as meal base, food buffs, and alloys. For the skill rotation, start by buffing a chosen teammate with professional alignment to boost both you and your chosen teammates' element damage, physical pen, and M-Pen. It will also mark them as Black Card VIP, increasing the buff effects they receive. Afterwards, cast Whoosh Kafra Takes Action on your frontline tank or support to help with sustain. Then activate Rotating Stage. During the fight, make sure to periodically pick up the Kafra package that appears inside the stage. This doubles the skill damage you receive from Love's magical spin and causes your next buff or debuff to apply to all teammates or enemies within the stage. Keep moving as much as possible to boost your own final damage by 30%, which comes from the Tier 5 effect of Thunder Meteor Hammer. When the team clash begins, activate Overloaded Support. This prevents you from dying for 15 seconds, expands the stage radius by 3 meters, and doubles the attack frequency for all spike maces. Just know that the Nameless Embers can still execute Kafra while Overloaded Support is active. Cast Delivery Exception to immobilize a nearby enemy, prevent them from attacking, strip their gears, and boost the damage they receive. You should also cast Take a Small Taste on enemies to steal 5 of their buffs. Always ensure there is a warehouse nearby using storage service. This allows you or your teammates to hide inside the warehouse for protection lasting for 5 seconds, and any teammate who dies within the stage will be automatically resurrected. If enemies start targeting you, use teleport service to escape to safety. Lastly, consider having a separate defensive build saved in Emir's notebook that focuses on cooldown reduction and defensive stats. You can switch to this build whenever Overloaded Support is on cooldown to improve survivability. It's also recommended to switch to this defensive build before activating Overloaded Support, since the skill snapshots your cooldown reduction at the moment it is cast. After activating it, you can then switch back to your full DPS build to maximize your damage during the Overloaded Support window. And there you have it, that wraps up my complete guide to building a full DPS Kafra for PvP. Personally, I enjoy playing Kafra in PvP as her playstyle is very easy. Even with full DPS gears, she will not be easily killed by enemies as long as Overloaded Support is active. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section below. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love you to consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.